Welcome to Chat Like Native. We're so glad you're joining us. Have you ever been speaking English and, well, you find yourself searching for a word? You hit that pause and maybe an or an comes out. It happens to everyone. But today, we're diving deep into how you can move past that. We're offering a bit of a shortcut, really.
Exactly. We're talking about fillers. Those little words, sometimes just sounds that pop up in conversation. They don't always carry a lot of meaning on their own, but they're crucial. Think of them like conversational glue. They sort of hold our thoughts together while we figure out what to say next, keeping things flowing.
Right, keeping the conversation going.
Yeah, but here's the thing. While simple fillers like might make you sound a bit uncertain, maybe disorganized, native speakers often use what we could call smart fillers.
Huh.
These actually make speech sound more natural, even thoughtful.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. We want to equip you with 4 really specific smart fillers, ones you can use to replace those basic hesitations, and we'll give you practical tips on using them naturally without, overdoing it.
Definitely. By the end, you'll have some solid tools to sound more confident, more conversational, really helping you, well, chat like a native.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more before we jump into the specific words. What exactly are these fillers, and why do native speakers use them so much? Because, honestly, they seem to be everywhere.
That's a great point. They really are ubiquitous. Essentially, fillers are short words or sounds we use while our brain is catching up, planning the next bit. They're that glue I mentioned. They give us a moment to think without just stopping dead.
Stopping dead, yeah, that feels awkward.
It does. And these little markers, they keep the channel open. They signal, hang on, I'm still talking, still thinking. Research actually calls them things like discourse markers or verbal placeholders.
Discourse markers.
Yeah, and they're really efficient at managing, the back and forth of conversation. And there are a few key reasons why native speakers use them all the time. We found about 4 main ones. First, like I said, it shows you're still speaking. Hold your turn.
Yeah.
Second, the obvious one, it buys you time to think. Reduces that cognitive load, Speaking in real time is demanding.
Makes sense.
Third, and this is quite subtle but really important, it just makes speech sound more natural. Less like reading a script.
Yeah.
More, well, human.
Right, less robotic.
Exactly. And fourth, they can be used for politeness. To hesitate slightly or soften something that might sound too blunt otherwise.
So it's not just filling silence, it's doing quite a lot of work, socially and cognitively.
A huge amount of work. But here's the trick, and this came up again and again. It's using the right filler at the right time.
Ah, okay. So not all fillers are created equal.
Not at all. Overusing the really simple ones like and well, that can sound repetitive, maybe distracting. Some studies even suggest it can make speakers seem less organized or confident.
Right. So that's why we need these smart alternatives.
Precisely. It's about using more sophisticated markers, actual words, strategically. They add nuance, not just noise.
Okay. This is where it gets really interesting for you listening. Let's get into the 4 smarter alternatives that can genuinely boost your fluency. These are words, not just sounds, and they have real power in conversation. Let's kick things off with a real classic. You hear it all the time. Well.
Well. Yes, incredibly versatile. Its main job, really, is to soften a response or buy you a bit of thinking time. It's perfect when you don't have an instant answer ready. Or maybe the answer isn't a simple yes or no.
Yeah, I use this one constantly. It feels like taking a breath before you speak. Like if someone asks, is that the best way to do it? Instead of just no, you might say, well, I'm not sure that's the best idea. It just sounds less confrontational somehow.
Exactly.
Or have you tried that new restaurant? Well, I've never actually been there before. It adds that moment of consideration.
It really does.
Yeah.
Linguistically, it signals you're processing the question. Your answer isn't just reflexive. It shows you're thinking without actually saying, let me think.
That's useful.
And, as you said, it's a great buffer. It softens disagreement, makes your tone more polite. It gives you that space to frame your thoughts respectfully, which is, a pretty advanced communication skill.
Definitely. Signaling thought. I like that. Okay, moving to our second smart filler. This one feels more connective.
It absolutely is. It's fantastic for building rapport. Its main goal is to connect with the listener. Sort of check if they're following you, if they understand or can relate. It's like saying, are we on the same page here? Or can you picture this?
Yeah, I hear it a lot when people describe feelings or maybe something a bit vague, like the whole situation was, kind of stressful, or if something was surprising, I just wasn't expecting that outcome, It pulls the listener in.
Precisely. It makes your speech feel more inclusive, more like a shared conversation.
Yeah.
And like, well, it also buys you a second to think, but it does it while actively keeping the other person engaged.
Right. Keeps the connection going.
Yeah. But a word of caution here, is powerful, but it's one you really need to be careful not to overuse.
Ah, okay. Why's that?
Well, if you pepper it in too much, like several times in one sentence, it can start to sound like a nervous habit, a tic. It can unfortunately undermine your confidence if it's just constant.
Gotcha. So use it, but, strategically.
Exactly. Like a well-placed comma, not just sprayed everywhere.
Okay, good tip. Now, speaking of words that sometimes get overused or maybe misused, let's tackle number 3, like.
Ah, yes, like. This one definitely divides opinions sometimes. But when you look at how it's actually used, especially in, contemporary informal English, its strategic purpose is often to introduce an example or to soften a statement, especially when you're talking about something abstract or giving an approximation.
So it's not just lazy speech. It has a function.
It really does, when used well. It's not always about being imprecise. Sometimes it's about conveying a feeling or general sense of something.
Okay, like, the concert was, like, amazing, or maybe describing a feeling. I just felt like something wasn't quite right.
Exactly, those kinds of situations. It helps express emotion or uncertainty in a way that sounds very natural, very current. It's super common in informal chats. So using it sparingly in the right places, it can actually make you sound more native-like, more relatable.
Adds a certain rhythm, too, maybe.
It can, yeah. It fits into the flow of casual conversation.
Okay, interesting. So not always a bad word, then.
Not inherently, no. Context and frequency are key.
Right. And our 4th smart filler, this one feels really useful for thinking out loud. I mean,
Yeah. Is fantastic. It's primarily for clarification or explanation. You use it when you want to expand on something you just said, or maybe refine it, make your intention clearer. You say something, then realize, oh, wait, I need to add a bit more detail, or let me adjust that slightly. I mean is the perfect bridge.
Yeah, it feels like it gives you permission to backtrack just a little or add nuance. I use it when I want to explain why I think something. I didn't love the film. I mean, the actors were great, but the plot was messy.
Perfect example.
Or maybe when you're not totally sure about a decision, I suppose I can go. I mean, it's not like I have other plans.
Exactly. It signals you're about to give more context or clarify your reasoning. It adds depth. It shows you're actually reflecting on what you're saying as you say it. Makes your speech feel more considered, more honest even, because you're showing that thought process.
Thinking in action.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It tells your listener you're actively engaged both with them and with your own ideas.
Okay, so we have these 4 powerful tools. Well, like MIGs, and I mean, this is all fascinating theory, but what does it mean for you listening right now? How do we actually start using these naturally without, just swapping for a constant stream of like?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Making it stick. And yes, it definitely takes conscious effort and practice, especially if you're used to relying on, or maybe silence. It's about retraining those automatic responses your brain makes when searching for words.
So what are some practical ways to practice?
Okay, here are a few strategies that came up. First, listen and repeat, or sometimes called shadowing. Really tune in when you're watching English TV or listening to podcasts or YouTube. Pay specific attention to how and when native speakers use these particular fillers. Notice the context.
So active listening.
Very active. And then try to mimic it. Repeat sentences or phrases, trying to capture that natural rhythm and placement. It builds muscle memory.
Okay, mimicking. What else?
Second, and this one takes a little bravery perhaps, record yourself.
Ooh, okay.
Just talk about something simple. Your day, your hobbies, describe your room, just for a minute or two. In English, obviously. Then, and this is the crucial part, listen back.
Cringe.
Maybe a little at first, but it's so revealing. Where did you hesitate? Where did an slip out? Then try recording it again, but this time consciously try to insert well or I me or one of the others in those spots.
Direct replacement practice.
Exactly. That self-correction loop is incredibly powerful. And third, try using specific filler prompts. Give yourself a mini task, like talk about your favorite food for 1 minute or describe your dream job. Set a timer and make it your specific goal for that minute to consciously use, say, well, and, a few times appropriately.
Low pressure practice.
Exactly. Builds confidence before you try it in a real, unpredictable conversation.
Those are really concrete tips, thank you. But let's circle back to that concern about overuse. It's great to replace, but we don't want to sound like, well, a broken record of like,
Absolutely not. That just trades one problem for another. The analogy that often comes up is driving a car. Fillers are like shifting gears done smoothly. They make the ride seamless. But if you're constantly grinding the gears, shifting unnecessarily, it makes the journey jerky and uncomfortable for your passenger, your listener.
Okay, so how do we avoid grinding the gears? How do we find that smooth balance?
Right. So a few key pieces of advice here. First, awareness is step one. Be aware of your habits. Really notice which filler you tend to rely on most right now. Is it maybe speaking too fast and tripping up? Start by focusing on just replacing that one main habit. Don't try to fix everything at once. Baby steps.
Okay, focus on one at a time. Makes sense.
Second piece of advice, slow down.
Just a little bit.
Ah, the classic advice.
It's classic because it works. Often we use fillers because we feel rushed. We feel pressure to fill every millisecond of silence. Speaking slightly more slowly gives your brain that extra moment to process, reducing the need for a filler.
Gives you breathing room.
Exactly. And third, related to that, embrace the pause. Seriously, a short, well-placed silence isn't awkward. It can actually signal thoughtfulness and confidence.
Silence is a tool, a very powerful one, often much more effective than filling the gap with an unnecessary, or even a smart filler sometimes. It shows you're in control.
Right? Take a beat.
Take a beat. And finally, if possible, practice with a friend or a language partner, someone who can give you gentle, honest feedback. Hey, I noticed you used quite a bit in that last story.
Oh.
That external perspective is gold for fine-tuning your habits.
That makes a lot of sense. Getting friendly feedback.
Yeah. And what's really key to understand, this came through so clearly, using these markers effectively isn't about hiding mistakes. It's actually a sign you're thinking in English. You're not just translating word for word. You're processing and structuring thoughts in real time like a native speaker does.
That's a huge shift in perspective. Not a crutch, but a sign of fluency.
Exactly. It makes your speech feel alive, spontaneous. And it signals to your listener, I'm right here with you thinking this through. They aren't flaws. They are tools. Tools you can learn to master.
So, if you're listening, the big takeaway here is that swapping out those ahs and ums for smarter fillers like well or I mean isn't just a tiny tweak. It can make a massive difference in how fluent and confident you sound, and importantly, how engaged your listeners feel.
Definitely.
And remember, you don't need to do it all at once. Pick one, just one to start with. Maybe focus on using well when you need a moment to think this week. Or try using I mean when you want to clarify something.
Small steps build the habit.
Exactly. Build it step by step. And soon you'll find your English flowing more smoothly, sounding smarter, and more native-like. And here's a final thought to leave you with. Think beyond just sounding more native. Consider how consciously using these little verbal tools, these pauses for thought, might actually sharpen your thinking itself.
Interesting point.
Giving yourself that extra beat to organize your ideas could lead to speaking with more precision, more clarity, not just in English, but maybe in all your communication. How could that skill, that ability to structure thoughts on the fly, benefit other parts of your life?
Something to ponder.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive on Chat Like a Native. We really hope exploring these smart fillers helps you feel more confident and natural in your conversations. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep chatting.